Is what I consider a stockpile truly mine, or am I buying it from someone else's field? What beliefs about lack do I hold that make me feel the need to secure myself? When I stock up, am I choosing awareness or fear? What becomes possible when I stop reacting from survival mode? What would stocking up from a space of abundance look like? What if stocking up could be play and creation, not fear? Whose voices do I hear in my head when I plan just in case? If I trusted the universe, how would my approach to resources change? What energy, space, and consciousness can I be to have access to everything I need? Always? Am I stocking up because I truly want to? Or because someone else did? Who in my lineage was afraid of hunger, scarcity, or war? Am I unconsciously honoring my ancestors' experiences by stockpiling? Whose emotions of panic and fear am I feeling when planning supplies? Are my actions an expression of loyalty to my family's suffering? What happens when I respectfully return my ancestors' fate to them and allow myself the freedom of choice? Am I ready to stand for life, here and now, regardless of the past? Do my stockpiles serve life, or do they cling to old pain? When I stock up, am I trying to control something that isn't truly mine? What place in my heart does trust in the future occupy? What family roles do I fulfill through excessive or compulsive collecting? Where in my body do I feel tension when I think about securing myself? What part of me am I healing when I stockpile? And does it still need that? What vibrations does the energy of my hoarding carry? Does what I gather resonate with my current level of consciousness? How can I anchor my sense of safety within myself instead of in things? Can I choose energetic reserves today instead of material ones? What in my field is asking to be cleared when I obsessively plan for later? What would my relationship with matter look like if it were an expression of love, not fear? What emotions am I trying to suppress by replacing them with physical possessions? Where is my soul longing for lightness that stockpiling cannot provide? Do I truly believe there won't be enough for me, my loved ones, or the world? What have all my past crises taught me? When did I first feel that life couldn't be trusted? Can I tell the difference between a real need and a reactive behavior? If there were no fear, what would I choose? What part of me is still waiting for disaster? What does stockpiling teach me about my relationship with life and death? Are my supplies protecting me or limiting me? What does my pantry represent on a symbolic level? How can I stock up in full alignment with lightness and awareness? What if I could have access to everything I need without needing to own it? What would my energetic pantry look like? What does my body tell me when I shop just in case? What frequencies do I invite into my home through the objects I gather? How can I make stocking up a ritual of trust instead of defense? Is there freedom in my collecting or attachment? How would my gathering practice change if I brought gratitude into it? What happens when I stop reacting and start consciously choosing? What would life look like if I trusted that I am always cared for? What can I lovingly let go of today, knowing I'm no longer who I was when I gathered it? What in my energy system makes me believe I need to protect myself? Do the things I gather truly serve my future or my ancestors' past? Whom in my family am I bonded with when I compulsively stock up? When I stockpile, am I choosing awareness or acting from inherited fear? If I had full trust in life, would I still need so many things? What am I trying to control by collecting more than I actually need? What emptiness am I trying to fill with the objects I gather? When I stock up, am I acting from lack or readiness for the new? Do I truly believe there won't be enough for me, my loved ones, the world? What image of myself am I trying to uphold by owning just in case? What past stories am I recreating through storing things? Are my stockpiles an attempt to protect myself from the inevitable? Can I allow myself to breathe today without holding on to anything? What am I unwilling to admit, hiding behind preparedness? When did I learn that life could take everything away? Can I tell the difference between readiness and control? Am I willing to acknowledge that my true strength lies not in stockpiles, but in presence? What unconscious loyalties to ancestors show up when I gather things? Do I collect because I remember their hunger, or because I truly need to? Can I today gratefully return their fears to my ancestors and choose my own path? What does my body look like when I hold more than I need? Do I feel flow or stagnation in the space of my home? Do I stockpile out of fear of loss or love for life? What am I really trying to protect? Myself, my loved ones, or my emotions? Are my actions responding to reality or reflecting past traumas? Where in my body do I feel tension when I think about lack? Are my stockpiles still care or already survival? What would it be like to trust myself enough not to cling to things? When I stock up, can I do it with lightness? Am I ready to accept that I can't predict everything and that this is okay? What do I choose? Control or co-creation with life? What would my approach to supplies look like if I acted from soul, not ego? Do I believe my worth increases when I have more? Can I see my stockpiles as a mirror of my distrust? How often do I make space for the new? In my pantry, in my cupboards, in my mind? Am I able to notice when I collect from a need for safety rather than a need of the heart? What am I trying to freeze in time by storing the past in jars? Does my soul breathe freely when my surroundings are full of just in case? Where does care end and the illusion of control begin? Are my stockpiles a yes to life or a no to change? Am I ready to trust that the access to resources lies within me, not on my shelves? What energies am I inviting into my field by collecting what may not truly serve me? Can I live with open hands, not clenched fists? If I wasn't afraid of losing anything, what would I let go of today? Am I willing to release what I've been storing out of a need to hide? Do my stockpiles speak about me or about someone I once loved and lost? Can I see that my excesses are often not my desires, but someone else's fears? Do I allow myself to experience temporary lack without panic? Can I look at my belongings from a space of awareness, not need? If my supplies had a voice, what would they tell me? Am I willing to choose with lightness today, even if it means having less? What am I trying to prove to myself by stockpiling? Can I admit that sometimes I gather things because I don't know how to hold my own emotions? What emotional lack is tied to my need for storing? Do the things I hoard nourish me or weigh me down? When I stockpile, do I follow my own energy or collective fear? Am I ready to see my resources through the eyes of the soul, not the mind? What do I truly want to have just in case? Food, peace, closeness, or the illusion of control? What childhood memory gets triggered when something's missing from the fridge? Does what I accumulate truly strengthen me, or merely bring momentary relief? When did I learn that survival is more important than living? Can I tell the difference between a choice and a compulsion? How much of my stockpiling is a response to what I didn't receive from my mother? Are my needs current or inherited? If I looked at my stockpiles as a system of mirrors, what would I see about myself? Can I gather from a place of freedom, not habit? What will happen if I'm not prepared for everything? Do my actions serve life or sustain the energetic illusion of danger? Whom in my lineage do I identify with when I stockpile? And am I ready to honor them without repeating their story? What would my environment look like if I only gathered what supports my light? Are my needs truly mine, or passed down from a male lineage afraid of hunger? Do my supplies give me a sense of strength, or just temporary comfort? Can I acknowledge that some lacks are illusions of the mind, not reality? What is my body trying to tell me when I buy more than I need for no reason? If my soul were to plan a stockpile, what would it choose? Is there space for flow in my home? Or has everything already been filled? Can I trust life so deeply that I don't need to cling to things? When I stock up, am I protecting myself or something that has long since passed? Do my actions feed love or fear? Am I ready to let go of what was once needed, but no longer is? Is my gathering a prayer for safety or a survival strategy? What would my world look like if I stocked up from a place of trust in the future? Can I choose enough today instead of too much? Can I admit that my stockpiles are sometimes an attempt to fill a spiritual void? Do I keep accumulating because I don't believe life can provide? What does my inner yes to life look like? Is it buried under things? In my home, is there more space taken up by objects or by my present choices? What happens if I allow myself not to have everything today? Can I trust that what I need will come exactly when I truly need it? When I stockpile, do I assume there will be lack, or that there will always be enough? Do my supplies protect my inner child from disappointment? What kind of inner presence do I need so I no longer feel the need to protect myself? Can I allow myself to be unprepared? Am I ready to release the belief that stockpiles are the only form of safety? What within me still believes that survival is the condition for love? Can I choose lightness today instead of heaviness? What would my relationship with space look like if I trusted that emptiness is also a blessing? What in my heart remains unfed if I still feel the need to have more? Can I look at my stockpiles with gratitude and a willingness to let go? Can I gather only what truly supports my awareness, not just my fear? Does what I collect serve my future, or merely soothe old fears? When I stockpile, am I in touch with myself, or escaping what I feel? Can I notice the moment when gathering stops being a free choice? What would my life look like if I trusted I am always taken care of? Do I stock up from a place of abundance or from an immature need for control? With whom in my family do I have an unconscious pact that you must always be prepared for the worst? Are my stockpiles a response to a lack of resources or a lack of trust? What survival messages do I carry in my body, even if I'm unaware of them? Can I look at the items I collect as symbols of my emotions? What am I truly trying to protect? My body, my soul, or childhood wounds? Are my stockpiles an extension of my need to predict the unpredictable? What in my energy field keeps me from feeling safe without supplies? Am I ready to acknowledge that life can support me unconditionally? What did my inner child gain from stockpiling? And does it still need that? Are my stockpiles an expression of self-love or of constant inner unrest? Do the things I store represent my belief in the future or my mistrust? Can I choose to act from trust today instead of from reaction? How often do I buy things just to avoid feeling emotions? Can I be fully present with what I have without a need for more? Is there space for gratitude in my gathering? What would my inner world look like if it mirrored the state of my pantry? Are my stockpiles an attempt to stop time I'm afraid to lose? What part of my soul still believes it can't survive without excess? How often does my home reflect my fear more than my freedom? Can I recognize when I choose stockpiling out of fear of failure? What feeling arises when I allow myself not to have everything ready? Are my supplies a defense strategy against uncertainty? Can I notice what happens inside me when something is missing? Can I allow myself to not know, not have, not plan, and be at peace with that? Are my stockpiles an expression of trust in life, or an attempt to control it? With whom in my family system do I share the unconscious belief that everything can suddenly be taken away? What am I trying to say to the world by holding on to so much? Can I recognize when things protect me and when they block me? Can I allow things to flow to me and from me? Am I holding more than I need because I'm afraid to feel emptiness? Are my stockpiles a response to emotional hunger? What in my current situation am I trying to cover up with excess? Could I trust that I have everything I need, even if I don't have everything I want? Am I gathering for myself or for someone who has long been gone? Are my stockpiles an attempt to save someone from the past? Can I choose simplicity without feeling not enough? What do my possessions say about my relationship with the future? When I stock up, am I creating a reality that supports me or one I fear? What would happen if I stopped securing every possible scenario? Can I leave space for the unexpected without needing to control it? Does my soul feel free in the space I fill with things? What taught me that the absence of something is a threat, not an opportunity? Can I choose quality over quantity today? Do my supplies remind me of trust or of struggle? Am I ready to create a new pattern of gathering, one rooted in presence, not fear? What part of me still doesn't trust that life will carry me? Do I collect things because I don't know how to gather presents? What is my relationship with lack? Can I feel it without immediately reacting? What would change if I stopped responding to potential lack with stockpiling? When I stock up, am I aligned with the present or still living in fear of the future? What unconscious assumptions about the world do I reinforce by holding more than I need? Can I feel enough within myself before I start buying again? Are my supplies an attempt to build a safe world around me because I don't feel one within? Can I allow myself not to know without automatically reaching for protection? What am I giving up by choosing constant readiness? When was the last time my stockpiling was an act of love rather than a reaction? Can I admit today that excess is also a form of being lost? Do I feel more like a man when I'm prepared for every possible outcome? How often do my stockpiles hide the fact that I don't feel cared for? Am I ready to trust that the space that opens when I let go can nourish me too? Whom am I competing with by stockpiling? And is that competition even real? Am I willing to release this mechanism, even if my ancestors saw it as necessary? Are my stockpiles a sign of my connection to the earth, or of my disconnection from it? What does my body say when I surround myself with things I don't use? Do I feel relief when I look at a full closet, or tension? Am I hoarding because I lack internal structure? Are my stockpiles a bridge to my inner father, or an attempt to replace his presence? What would happen if I trusted that I don't need to know what tomorrow will bring? Does my storing say, I'm ready, or rather, I'm still afraid? Can I admit to myself that some of my stockpiles were born out of terror? Can I see things as they are, not as I wish them to be? What feeling am I trying to neutralize by owning things? Can I sit with the idea of lack today, without reacting to it? What would happen if I didn't buy anything today and simply was? Are my stockpiles a storage place for emotions I don't want to feel? Can I choose less today, but with more depth? When I stockpile, am I inviting life in, or defending myself against it? Am I aware of the intention I carry when I gather things? What in me seeks a sense of superiority by collecting more than others? Do my supplies help me feel that I matter? Can I allow myself to experience lack without interpreting it as failure? What would it feel like to trust that the universe didn't make a mistake by creating me without a pantry? Can I see that stockpiling isn't always care? Sometimes it's resistance? From what era does my belief that you must have extra come from? When was the first time I felt I didn't have the right to what I needed? What do my stockpiles say about my relationship with my mother? Can I honor my ancestors today, not by repeating their fears, but by choosing trust? Is my hoarding an attempt to hide from life? What emotions are frozen in the things I keep for later? Am I ready for that later to become now? When I stockpile, am I choosing a relationship with matter or with spirit? Can I ask myself, is this truly mine? Before I decide to keep it? What parts of me long to be nourished before I hide something away again? Can I trust today that I have enough to feel at peace? What will happen when I stop trying to protect myself? What part of me believes that being prepared for everything is the condition for being safe? Can I acknowledge that I cannot predict life, and that this doesn't have to be a threat? What meaning do I assign to being prepared? Are my supplies a form of protection, or a sign of my lack of trust? What in my daily life do I keep for later out of fear of losing it? When I stockpile, am I turning away from life or moving closer to it? Can I recognize when my actions are driven by panic, even if they seem logical? Am I able to be in an empty space without needing to immediately fill it? What do my actions say about my readiness to live with unpredictability? What is my relationship with temporary incompleteness? Am I ready to stop overlaying the present with past fears? What childhood images are triggered when I see an empty shelf in a store? Does my body trust it will have access to what it needs? What do I do with my fear before I start planning and stockpiling? Can I trust today that everything truly important will still find its way to me? Are my stockpiles a record of my distrust in life? Can I admit that sometimes it's not about the things, but about the feeling I'm avoiding? Can I live without guarantees? And do I really need them? With whom do I identify when I accumulate excess? Do the stockpiles I create carry the silent message, I don't want to suffer the way they did? Is there a cellular memory in me of war, hunger, or loss? Could I look at my ancestors today and say, "Thank you, your suffering no longer needs to shape my choices"? What changes when I stockpile from a place of grounded peace? Do the things I keep truly hold value, or are they just weight? Are my stockpiles a movement toward life or toward mere survival? What would it feel like to breathe freely among empty shelves? Does my collecting remind me of what I didn't receive or of what I long to give? What role does excess play in my inner system? Can I recognize when my actions are no longer truly mine? Can I admit that more doesn't always mean better? What happens when I stop stockpiling and start truly being? Do my decisions about supplies consider my body, or only my beliefs? Can I stock up with the energy of awareness, not tension? Can I sense the moment when care turns into obsession? Are my stockpiles an expression of love or of reaction? Can I trust that sometimes the absence of something also guides me? How often are my stockpiles a consequence of the fear that I don't deserve support? What happens in my energy field when I hold on to more than I need? Can I hold the feeling of lack within me without needing to act on it right away? Can I choose access over ownership today? Do my supplies create flow or stagnation? Is there room in what I collect for movement, change, and lightness? Am I willing to look at my stockpiles from the heart, not just the mind? What do my stockpiles say about my relationship with life's cycles? Can I trust that life will care for me even when I don't have? Are my stockpiles the result of love or an inheritance of survival? Do I accumulate to avoid feeling that I depend on others? Is my just in case a form of frozen fear? What is activated in me when I think there might not be enough? Am I ready to feel a new yes within me for simplicity, lightness, and trust? Can I feel the difference between a stockpile and a burden? When I stockpile, am I caring for myself or still caring for someone else's fear? What do I give up in myself when I buy for later once again? Are my stockpiles a space of connection to myself or an escape from presence? What thoughts drive me when I feel the urge to secure myself? Can I make space for lightness, even if I don't have everything on hand? Are my stockpiles a silent protest against lack of control? Do the things I keep support me, or only pretend to offer safety? Which part of me resonates with the phrase, better to have than to regret? Do my stockpiles create a relationship with life or distance from it? Does what I gather express my values or only my fears? Can I be fully present in the here and now without needing to prepare for something else? Are my stockpiles a trace of lack or a trace of abundance I can't yet accept? What would my life look like if I trusted that I will never run out? Do the things I keep truly belong to me? Can I look at my pantry as a map of my subconscious? What am I trying to fix by adding one more item to my stockpile? Are my stockpiles an attempt to build the future or freeze the past? Can I allow myself temporary lack without losing my ground? What do I feel when someone lacks and I have, or vice versa? Are my stockpiles an expression of freedom or imprisonment in old patterns? What am I trying to prevent from leaving by surrounding myself with so much? Does my body trust that it doesn't need anything just in case? When I stockpile, am I integrated or dispersed? With whom in my lineage am I secretly bonded through securing myself? Can I stockpile without triggering the old pattern of what if evil comes again? What internal debts am I trying to repay by buying more? Are my stockpiles a way to earn love, security, or peace? Can I create space within me where not everything is anticipated and that's okay? Are my stockpiles my response to chaos from outside or within? Do what I keep at home help me breathe or make it feel cramped? Can I part with something that used to be a stockpile but is no longer needed? Do my stockpiles have a soul or are they just a collection of things? Am I gathering because I don't believe I can ask and be heard? What am I trying to silence when I plan how much more I should have? Does what's in my cupboards resonate with what's in my heart? Are my stockpiles a tender act toward myself, or a story of lack? Which emotions don't have space in me and so express themselves through excess things? Is my capacity to receive greater than my need to secure? Do my stockpiles support my spirit or merely give respite to my mind? Can I live with the sense I have enough for now? When I stockpile, am I building something or still reinforcing defense? Are my choices expressions of presence or habit? What in my heart hasn't been acknowledged if I cling so tightly to things? Are my stockpiles a conversation with life or a monologue with the past? Can I notice that the more I have, the more I fear? What do I want to hear from life by holding on to stockpiles? You'll be safe. You'll never lack again. Can I choose trust instead of prediction today? What changes when I recognize I don't need everything to be whole? Can I look at my stockpiles without their stories, just with presence? Can I sense the difference between possessing and clinging? Are my stockpiles aligned with my current vibration? What am I trying to hold on to? What I can't yet release? Can I sit with I have enough without slipping into but what if? Do my stockpiles support my masculinity or my insecurity? Am I gathering to have control or to feel peace? What in me doesn't trust the flow of life? Can I not have and not feel lack? When I stockpile, do I follow intuition or inattention? Does what I store still resonate with who I am today? Can I view my stockpiles as a reflection of my level of consciousness? What energetic quality is associated with my cabinets and storage? Are my stockpiles fueled by care or survival mechanism? Could I make fewer stockpiles and more inner space? Does my body feel lighter when I don't have to gather? What does my inner world look like when I don't have to be ready for everything? Do my stockpiles build peace or anxiety in me? Can I choose a kind of security that doesn't require ownership today? Do I know how much I really need, or am I just replaying others' pattern? Do what I keep say by trust, or lack of it? What am I trying to preserve through things I hold on to long term? Can I feel rich without having everything within arm's reach? Do my stockpiles carry more energy for life or for survival? Is my gathering a form of emotional freezing? Can I let things flow through me without stopping them? Can I feel cared for without needing to secure? What do my stockpiles say about my relationship with time? Do I hold because I believe it will come in handy, or because I fear it won't? Can I acknowledge that life gives, not stockpiles? Are my stockpiles in service of love or reaction to fear? What would it look like to stockpile from freedom, not inner compulsion? Can I say this is enough with peace? Do I stock up to avoid trusting others? Am I ready for my stockpiles to be smaller but more conscious? Does what I store reflect my shadow or my presence? What do I truly want at hand, and can it even be bought? Are my stockpiles a narrative of what I missed as a child? Am I anchoring in the past or creating a safe future with them? Does holding excess stop me from noticing I'm already surrounded by abundance? Can I plan without fear? When I stockpile, do I feel more alive or more burdened? Are my stockpiles a silent plea for certainty? Does what I gather resonate with my heart? Does my home hold more trust or more strategy? Could I create a new relationship with stockpiling today, filled with lightness, choice, and awareness? Are my stockpiles support or armor? Do the things I have just in case end up holding me back? Am I ready to allow myself less if that means more space? When I stockpile, can I see which items are truly mine and which I carry from ancestral burden? Are my stockpiles a manifestation of my choice or an inherited pattern? What do my stockpiles say about my relationship with lack and abundance? Can I trust that I can have less and still be safe? What old ancestral stories resonate with my need to stockpile? When I stockpile, am I honoring my boundaries or overstepping them? Can I recognize the moment when care turns into control? What happens to my energy when I hold things just in case? Can I allow myself to not know and trust that life will guide me? Do my stockpiles create space for life or space for fear? How does my body respond when I observe my stockpiles without judgment? Can I see in my stockpiles an invitation to deeper awareness? Is what I keep a response to my real need or to my imagination? Can I trust that my worth isn't tied to the amount of things I own? What was said in my family about lack that influences my behavior? Do my stockpiles serve my freedom or limit me? Can I let go of the need for control and trust life's natural flow? Can I see how my stockpiles reflect my emotions and states of mind? What inner space do I create when I hold more than I need? Can I trust that my body is my best guide when it comes to stockpiling? Are the things I have full of life, or do they just fill space? Can I say enough with love and respect for myself? Are my stockpiles an expression of my creativity or of my fear? Can I trust that less means more in my life? What do I do with the energy I pour into gathering stock? Can I notice when I stockpile from lack and when from abundance? Can I choose simplicity and lightness today instead of gathering more? Do my stockpiles build bridges to others or walls? Can I make room for life's surprises without extra stockpiles? Am I ready to trust that I can ask for help instead of holding everything alone? What beliefs am I maintaining through my stockpiles? Can I trust that the world won't end when something runs out? Are my stockpiles my ally or a burden? Can I notice how my stockpiles affect my relationships? Can I see that fewer stockpiles might mean more freedom? Can I release the weight of gathering things? Can I listen to what my stockpiles say about my inner state? Can I decide today for awareness, not compulsion? Are my stockpiles a source of joy or anxiety? Can I see what emotions lie behind my gathering? Can I gratefully accept what I have without needing more? Can I allow myself to breathe in the space I create? Can I trust that my current stockpiles are enough? Can I accept responsibility for my stockpiles without self-criticism? Can I take a step toward greater lightness and simplicity? Can I notice how my stockpiles affect my life energy? Can I trust the process of change when I choose to have less? Can I recognize my true needs in the context of stockpiling? Can I trust myself and life today more than my fears? Can I feel gratitude for what I have instead of focusing on what's missing? Can I choose to stockpile today with awareness and presence? Can I notice the stories I tell myself while making stockpiles? Can I distinguish between a true need and a mere habit? How does my heart respond when I look at the things I've accumulated? Can I ask my body whether it wants more or fewer stockpiles? Are my stockpiles an expression of care or of fear? Can I be fully present while stockpiling without judging myself? What happens when I choose minimalism in my life? Can I trust that life provides exactly what I need? How does my energy react when I cross boundaries with accumulation? Do my stockpiles create a space of safety or imprisonment? Can I take a step toward freedom by letting go of what's unnecessary? What emotions arise in me when I think about giving up some of my stockpiles? Can I see what beliefs about safety I'm holding on to? Do my stockpiles strengthen my masculinity or limit it? What am I trying to gain by stockpiling? Is it truly what I desire? Can I trust the process of life that doesn't require control? Can I say enough today and feel peace? How do my stockpiles affect my relationships with loved ones? Can I notice when I stockpile out of fear and when out of love? Can I express gratitude for what I already have instead of constantly accumulating? Are my stockpiles my support or my shadow? What can I do to make stockpiling a conscious choice, not a reaction? Can I look at my limits around accumulation with love? How can I use the energy of stockpiles to create space for the new? Can I trust that I can have less and still have more life? When I stockpile, am I present in the here and now, or escaping into the future? What parts of my past shape my approach to stockpiling? Can I accept that I don't need to have everything under control? What do I feel when someone close to me has less than I do? Can I notice when accumulation is an escape from myself? Are my stockpiles an act of self-love or fear of loss? How can I integrate myself so that I stockpile with joy rather than compulsion? Can I recognize the moment when stockpiles stop serving me? Can I trust that I have everything I need for now? What emotions arise when I think about letting go of excess? Can I listen to my intuition when it comes to stockpiling? Are my stockpiles aligned with my true identity? Can I allow myself lightness in the realm of possessions? What can I discover about myself by observing my stockpiles? Can I make stockpiling a tool for conscious living? What beliefs about worth and safety need to be released? Can I create a gratitude ritual for the things I own? Do my stockpiles enhance my freedom or suppress it? How can I be more mindful when making stockpiles? Can I let go of the need to always be prepared? What benefits and challenges do my stockpiles bring? Can I see the beauty in what I have instead of focusing on lack? Can I express gratitude for the ability to choose, to have or not to have? How do my stockpiles affect my energy and well-being? Can I trust that life will take care of my needs? Do my stockpiles reflect inner balance or imbalance? What do my stockpiles say about my relationship with time and its flow? Can I trust that I don't need everything just in case to feel safe? What role does a sense of lack play in my life when I stockpile? Can I recognize when stockpiles serve me and when they limit me? Are my stockpiles an expression of care or an attempt to control? What do I lose when I focus too much on possessing? Can I distinguish between need and fear when it comes to stockpiling? How do my stockpiles affect my sense of freedom? Can I trust that I can live fully without excess? What happens in my body when I observe my stockpiles? Can I feel gratitude for what I own without the desire for more? Are my stockpiles a reflection of my masculinity and its quality? Can I take a step toward simplicity without feeling loss? What ancestral beliefs influence my tendency to accumulate? Can I imagine a life without the need to stockpile? Do my stockpiles create a sense of safety or entrapment? What do my stockpiles reveal about my relationship with trust? Can I trust the flow of life without needing to control it? Can I view stockpiling with lightness rather than heaviness? What emotions arise when I think of letting go of some stockpiles? Can I trust myself to choose what's best for me? Can I see the stories I tell myself while stockpiling? How do my stockpiles affect my relationships with others? Can I trust that life gives me everything I need? Can I look at my stockpiles through the lens of gratitude? Can I allow myself lightness and space in my life? Are the stockpiles I create a conscious choice or a reaction to fear? What do I lose when I remain stuck in excess? Can I notice when my stockpiles become my limitation? Can I be present while stockpiling without escaping into the future? How can I turn stockpiling into a source of power rather than a burden? Can I trust that I can have less and feel more fulfilled? Can I recognize the moment when stockpiles are no longer needed? What can I do to make stockpiles an expression of my freedom? Can I allow myself to shift my approach to stockpiling? Can I let go of the need to always be ready? Can I notice that my stockpiles are a reflection of my energy? Can I express gratitude for the stockpiles I already have? Can I trust that life will take care of my needs? Can I see my stockpiles as a form of self-care? Can I notice what emotions lie behind my hoarding? Can I make space for awareness through my stockpiles? Can I be fully present while stockpiling? Can I trust that I can let go of excess without losing anything important? Can I recognize when my stockpiling is a form of escape? Can I trust that life is good enough not to cling tightly to stockpiles? Can I notice how my stockpiles affect my energy levels? Can I feel peace when I choose to have fewer stockpiles? Can I choose awareness over compulsion in stockpiling today? When stockpiling, am I listening more to fear or to intuition? How do my stockpiles influence my decision making? Can I notice the kind of energy I attract when I create stockpiles? What do my stockpiles say about my relationship with the past? Is accumulating things a way to avoid facing emotions? Can I ask myself, what do I truly need right now? When I stockpile, am I creating freedom or a prison? How does my body react when I stockpile under pressure? Can I notice when stockpiling becomes a form of self-image? Can I tell when my stockpiles serve me and when they serve others? What happens when I shift to a more conscious approach to stockpiling? Can I invite more lightness and play into my space? Do my stockpiles come from self-love or a lack of trust? How can I turn the act of stockpiling into gratitude? Can I trust that life will bring me what I don't yet have? What am I learning about my sense of safety through stockpiling? What family patterns am I maintaining by hoarding? Can I tell when I'm stockpiling for myself versus for others? Can I trust that less can mean more? What can I release to create space for new possibilities? Can I look at my stockpiles without judgment? What emotions arise when I think about limiting my stockpiles? Can I trust the process of change and uncertainty? When stockpiling, am I clinging to the past or opening to the future? Can I see how my stockpiles affect my relationships with others? Can I trust that I can live without excess? Can I take a step towards simplicity without feeling loss? What do I do with the energy I put into hoarding? Can I notice the moment when my stockpiles stop serving me? Can I allow myself spontaneity in my stockpiling? Are my stockpiles an expression of creativity or fear? Can I be present and aware while stockpiling? Can I trust that I already have everything I need? What can I change in my approach to feel more lightness? Can I see that my stockpiles reflect my emotional state? Can I express gratitude for what I already have? Can I trust myself and my choices? Can I recognize when stockpiling becomes a form of escape? Can I notice how my stockpiles affect my energy? Can I free myself from the need to control through hoarding? Can I see how my stockpiles affect my sense of self-worth? Can I express self-love by letting go of excess? Can I make space for life's unpredictability? Can I trust that I can live fully with less? Can I recognize my true needs in the context of stockpiling? Can I choose awareness and presence today instead of compulsion? Can I notice the stories my mind tells me about stockpiling? Can I invite more joy and lightness into this area of life? Can I explore what lies beneath my urge to stockpile? When I stockpile, am I listening to my heart or to fear? What family patterns am I repeating through stockpiling? Do my stockpiles create a space for life or a space of limitation? Can I trust that I can have less and still feel safe? What do I gain from stockpiling and what do I lose? Can I notice when my stockpiles no longer support my growth? What stories do I tell myself about value when I stockpile? Can I express gratitude for what I already have instead of wanting more? When stockpiling, am I present or escaping into the future? How does my body react when I think of reducing my stockpiles? Can I tell the difference between a need and a habit of accumulation? Are stockpiles a form of protection or limitation for me? Can I trust that life provides exactly what I need? Can I take a step towards simplicity with love for myself? Can I free myself from the weight of excess? What emotions arise when I think of letting go of some stockpiles? Can I trust myself and my choices regarding stockpiling? Can I take responsibility for my stockpiling without self-judgment? Can I see how my stockpiles influence my relationships? Are the stockpiles I create my ally or my enemy? What beliefs about safety am I reinforcing through stockpiling? Can I make room for the new by releasing excess? Are my stockpiles an expression of care for myself or for others? Can I notice when I hoard out of a need for control? Can I allow myself lightness and simplicity in stockpiling? How does my energy respond when I look at my stockpiles without judgment? Can I choose mindful, present stockpiling today? Can I see what family stories influence my stockpiling habits? Can I recognize the moment when stockpiling becomes a burden? Can I express gratitude for the stockpiles I already have? Can I recognize the moment when I can take a step toward lightness? Can I trust that having fewer stockpiles can bring me more freedom? Are my stockpiles a reflection of inner harmony or chaos? What am I truly trying to protect by stockpiling? Can I trust that I can let go of some stockpiles without losing anything? What emotions do my stockpiles awaken in me? When stockpiling, am I in touch with my body and its needs? Can I notice when stockpiling becomes my escape from difficult feelings? What might happen if I start stockpiling from a more conscious perspective? Do my stockpiles reflect who I truly am? Can I look at my stockpiles without self-judgment? What family beliefs do I carry when I stockpile? Can I trust that I can have less and be more whole? When stockpiling, am I listening to myself or to the voice of fear? Can I notice what benefits I get from having too much? Can I accept that my needs may change over time? Are my stockpiles an expression of care or of control? What family patterns shape my approach to possessions? Can I feel gratitude for what I have without wanting to accumulate more? Can I recognize the moment when stockpiles stop being necessary? Can I take a step towards simplicity and lightness? Are my stockpiles an expression of my masculinity or a limitation of it? Can I trust the process of life without needing to control it? When stockpiling, am I present or escaping into the future? What can I release to create space for the new? Can I see how my stockpiles affect my relationships? Can I turn stockpiling into a conscious act of self-care? Can I notice when stockpiling becomes a form of escape? Can I see how my stockpiles affect my energy? Can I free myself from the need to control? Can I trust that having fewer stockpiles will bring me more freedom? Can I express gratitude for the stockpiles I already have? Can I be fully present while stockpiling? Can I trust myself and my choices? Can I recognize the moment when stockpiles become a burden? Can I make space for spontaneity in stockpiling? Can I notice what emotions lie behind my accumulating? Can I turn stockpiles into a space for my awareness? Can I allow myself lightness and simplicity? Can I trust that I can live fully with less? Can I take a step toward freedom by letting go of excess? Can I sense when I stockpile out of fear and when out of love? Can I trust that life provides exactly what I need? Can I trust the process of change and uncertainty? Can I make stockpiles a tool for my growth? When I stockpile, am I protecting myself or my ancestors? What do my stockpiles say about my sense of worth? Can I trust that I can live fully without excess? How does my energy shift when I choose fewer stockpiles? Can I recognize the fears behind my accumulating? Can I create space for the new by letting go of old stockpiles? Are my stockpiles an expression of my power or my limits? What do I gain from holding stockpiles? Can I notice when stockpiles stop supporting me? Can I express gratitude for the stockpiles I already hold? When I stockpile, am I present or lost in my mind? What family patterns do I carry through my stockpiles? Can I trust that life will care for my future? Can I look at my stockpiles without judgment? Are my stockpiles expressions of self-care or fear of lack? Can I notice when stockpiles become a burden? Can I live lightly even while I stockpile? Can I trust myself and my needs? What happens in my body when I consider letting go of some stockpiles? Can I take a step toward simplicity and fullness of life? Can I notice when stockpiling becomes a way to control? Can I make stockpiling a tool for my own awareness? Can I trust that less truly means more? Can I welcome changes in my approach to stockpiling with openness? Can I notice what emotions lie behind my gathering? Can I free myself from the need for control through stockpiling? Can I be present while stockpiling? Can I trust that I have everything I need? Can I choose awareness and presence over compulsion today? Can I notice the stories my mind tells about stockpiles? Can I sense how stockpiles affect my relationships? Can I trust life's process and flow? Can I make stockpiles a space for my empowerment? Can I express gratitude for what I have? Can I trust that I can live fully with less? Can I trust myself to let go of excess? Can I recognize when stockpiles limit me? Can I make room for spontaneity in my gathering? Can I notice that stockpiles involve not just things, but emotions? Can I take a step toward freedom by releasing excess? Can I trust that fewer stockpiles will bring me more joy? Can I express self-love by embracing simplicity? Can I notice which family beliefs influence my stockpiling? Can I accept responsibility for my stockpiles without judgment? Can I invite more joy and lightness into this area of my life? Can I trust that life will provide everything I need? Can I notice when I stockpile out of fear or out of love? Can I recognize what truly underlies my urge to stockpile? Are my stockpiles protection or a prison? How can I shift my relationship with stockpiles so they serve freedom? Can I trust that having fewer can keep me safe? What can I let go today to make space for what truly matters? Can I notice when stockpiles mask emotional avoidance? Can I turn stockpiling into a conscious choice? Which ancestral beliefs about safety live in my stockpiling? Can I invite more lightness and play into the process of stockpiling? Do my stockpiles reflect self-love or fear? Can I see how my stockpiles affect my relationships? Can I trust the process of change and allow myself uncertainty? Can I be present and mindful while stockpiling? Can I take a step toward simplicity with self-compassion? What might I gain by releasing excess? Can I notice when stockpiles become energetically heavy? Can I express gratitude for what I have? Can I trust myself and my needs? Can I recognize when stockpiles stop serving my growth? Can I make stockpiles a space of empowerment? Can I trust that less truly means more? Can I notice what emotions lie behind my accumulating? Can I free myself from the need to control through stockpiling? Can I trust that life will take care of my needs? Can I notice when I stockpile out of love or fear? Can I express self-love by letting go of excess? Can I notice how stockpiles affect my self-worth? Can I trust that I truly have everything I need? Can I make room for spontaneity in stockpiling? Can I recognize when stockpiles become my limitation? Can I trust that I can live fully with less? Can I notice which stories I tell about myself through stockpiling? Can I accept responsibility for my stockpiles without judgment? Can I turn stockpiles into a tool for self-awareness? Can I notice how my stockpiles affect my energy? Can I take a step toward freedom by releasing excess? Can I trust the flow of life and its subtle guidance? Can I be present while stockpiling? Can I trust myself and my choices? Can I notice when stockpiles are a form of escape? Can I invite more joy and lightness into this realm of life? Can I notice what my stockpiles reveal about my relationship with the past? Can I recognize when stockpiles become my history rather than my present? Can I trust that life will provide what I truly need? Can I use stockpiling as a reflection of my personal growth? Can I step beyond my own limitations in stockpiling? Can I trust that I can live with ease and safety, even with less? Can I notice when I stockpile out of control? Can I express gratitude for the process of stockpiling? Can I trust myself at every stage of this process? Are my stockpiles a tribute to my prosperity or to my need for security? How can I make stockpiling a sensorial ritual of self-celebration? Can I allow myself extravagance without guilt? What do my stockpiles say about my capacity to savor life? Can I trust that I have the right to abundance if it serves my joy? Can I see the beauty in my stockpiling as an art form? What decadent pleasures are hidden within my stockpiles? Are my stockpiles an expression of my power or of my extravagance? Can I balance richness with simplicity? Can I make stockpiling a refined dance with life? What stories do I tell myself about the luxury I cultivate through stockpiling? Can I trust that decadence can be a pathway to freedom? Can I celebrate each of my stockpiled items as a work of art? Can I recognize when luxury becomes a burden? Can I allow myself to savor abundance lightly? Are my stockpiles a mirror of my soul or my ambition? Can I trust that decadent abundance can empower me? What sensory experiences do my stockpiles awaken? Can I turn stockpiling into a celebration of myself? Can I express gratitude for the luxury I give myself? Can I trust that my extravagance is my birthright? Can I allow myself to play with the edges of abundance? Are my stockpiles an invitation to sensual living? Can I express myself through the richness of my stockpiles? Can I notice when decadence becomes a trap? Can I notice when stockpiling becomes a form of escape? Can I see how my stockpiles affect my energy? Can I release the need for control? Can I trust that having fewer stockpiles will bring me more freedom? Can I express gratitude for the stockpiles I already have? Can I be fully present while stockpiling? Can I trust myself and my choices? Can I recognize the moment when stockpiles become a burden? Can I make space for spontaneity in stockpiling? Can I notice what emotions underlie my accumulation? Can I turn stockpiles into a space for my awareness? Can I allow myself lightness and simplicity? Can I trust that I can live fully with less? Can I take a step toward freedom by releasing excess? Can I sense when I stockpile out of fear and when out of love? Can I trust that life provides exactly what I need? Can I trust the process of change and uncertainty? Can I make stockpiling a tool for my personal growth? When I stockpile, am I protecting myself or my ancestors? What do my stockpiles say about my sense of self-worth? Can I trust that I can live fully without excess? How does my energy shift when I choose fewer stockpiles? Can I recognize the fears behind my accumulation? Can I create room for new by releasing old stockpiles? Do my stockpiles express my power or reveal my limitations? What do I gain by holding onto stockpiles? Can I notice when stockpiles stop supporting me? Can I express gratitude for the stockpiles I already hold? When I stockpile, am I present or lost in thought? What family patterns do my stockpiles carry? Can I trust that life will care for my future? Can I look at my stockpiles without self-judgment? Are my stockpiles expressions of self-care or fear of lack? Can I live lightly even while stockpiling? Can I trust myself and my needs? What happens in my body when I consider letting go of stockpiles? Can I take a step towards simplicity and fullness? Can I notice when stockpiling becomes a means of control? Can I make stockpiling a path to self-awareness? Can I trust that less truly means more? Can I welcome a change in how I approach stockpiling? Can I release the need for control through my stockpiles? Can I trust that I already have what I need? Can I choose awareness and presence over compulsion today? Can I notice the stories I tell myself about stockpiling? Can I sense how stockpiles affect my relationships? Can I trust life's flow and its guidance? Can stockpiling become a space for my empowerment? Can I express gratitude for what I have? Can I trust I can live fully with less? Can I let go of excess with confidence? Can I recognize when stockpiles limit me? Can I make room for spontaneity in accumulation? Can I see that stockpiles embody not just things, but emotions? Can I step toward freedom by releasing excess? Can I trust that fewer stockpiles bring more joy? Can I express self-love through simplicity? Can I identify family beliefs shaping my stockpiling? Can I accept responsibility for my stockpiles without judgment? Can I invite joy and lightness into this area of life? Can I trust that life will meet my true needs? Can I see when I stockpile from fear or love? Can I recognize what truly drives my urge to stockpile? Are my stockpiles protection or a prison? How can I make stockpiling serve my freedom? Can I trust that having less still keeps me safe? What can I release today to make space for what matters? Can stockpiles mask emotional avoidance? Can stockpiling become a conscious choice? Which ancestral beliefs underpin my stockpiling? Can I invite more lightness and play as I stockpile? Do my stockpiles reflect self-love or fear? Can I see how stockpiles affect my relationships? Can I trust change and allow uncertainty? Can I be fully present and aware when I stockpile? Can I step toward simplicity with kindness to myself? What might I gain by releasing excess? Can I sense when stockpiles weigh heavily on me? Can I express gratitude for what I have? Can I trust myself and my needs? Can I notice when stockpiles stop supporting my growth? Can stockpiling become a space for empowerment? Can I trust that less truly means more? Can I notice the emotions beneath my accumulation? Can stockpiles release my need for control? Can I trust life to provide for my needs? Can I see when I stockpile from love or fear? Can I celebrate letting go with self-love? Can I observe how stockpiles shape my self-worth? Can I trust I have everything I truly need? Can I make space for spontaneity as I stockpile? Can I see when stockpiles become my limitation? Can I trust that I can live fully with less? Can I recognize the stories I tell about myself through my stockpiles? Can I take responsibility for my stockpiling without judgment? Can I turn stockpiling into a tool for self-awareness? Can I notice how my stockpiles affect my energy? Can I step toward freedom by releasing excess? Can I trust life's flow and its subtle guidance? Can I be present as I stockpile? Can I trust my own choices? Can I notice when stockpiles become a way to escape? Can I invite more joy and lightness into this life area? Can I see what my stockpiles reveal about my relationship with the past? Can I notice when stockpiles become my history, not my present? Can I trust life to provide what I truly need? Can stockpiling reflect my personal growth? Can I step beyond my own limits in stockpiling? Can I trust that I can live with ease and safety, even with less? Can I notice when stockpiling spins out of control? Can I express gratitude for the process of stockpiling? Can I trust myself at every stage of this journey? Are my stockpiles a celebration of my prosperity or my need for security? How can I make stockpiling a sensory ritual of self-celebration? Can I permit myself extravagance without guilt? What do my stockpiles say about my capacity to savor life? Can I claim abundance as my right when it serves joy? Can I see the beauty in stockpiling as art? What decadent pleasures do my stockpiles evoke? Are my stockpiles an expression of power or of extravagance? Can I balance opulence with simplicity? Can I make stockpiling a refined dance with life? What narratives do I tell about the luxury I build in stockpiling? Can I trust that decadence can be a path to freedom? Can I celebrate each stockpiled item as art? Can I recognize when luxury becomes a burden? Can I savor abundance lightly? Are my stockpiles a mirror of my soul or of my ambition? Can I trust that decadent abundance can empower me? What sensory delights do my stockpiles awaken? Can I make stockpiling a celebration of myself? Can I express gratitude for the luxury I grant myself? Can I trust that my extravagance is my birthright? Can I play at the edges of abundance? Are my stockpiles an invitation to living sensually? Can I express myself through the richness of my stockpiles? Can I notice when decadence becomes a trap?